Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Summerhour. Let's get right to our top stories this morning, sponsored by Carnegie Heights. You've heard about the eviction moratorium that has been in place during the pandemic, but that didn't stop some landlords from evicting people anyway. Review-Journal's Jen Ah has more.
Well, Renee, experts are calling this a travesty. They say it was due to a, quote, abused loophole in the system. Despite some landlords receiving millions in federal rental assistance to continue housing tenants, and despite state and federal eviction moratoriums in place, some were reportedly threatened with eviction numerous times.
In reality, at no point during the pandemic have evictions actually stopped. Most of the time during the pandemic, evictions for non-payment of rent were prohibited. But all that really meant was that landlords would find other types of eviction to try to push through the court system.
According to legal experts, tenants who never entered into long-term leases and paying weekly rent were still vulnerable to expedited no-cause evictions. Renee?
Thank you, Jen. Well, Juneteenth was celebrated across the valley this weekend. Federal, state, and local officials marked the holiday with an event at Discovery Children's Museum.
This is our history. And while it may make some of us cringe, it makes some of us go back to a time where we would never want to be again, it also provides evidence as to what we can do with the time that we have left before us.
In your entertainment news, sponsored by DiscoverYourNevada.com, brought to you by Travel Nevada, Season 2 of the hit podcast Mobbed Up premieres today. And we spoke with Season 2 host Jeff Gearman about what we can expect this season. Jeff, of course, for the first season, Mobbed Up took us inside one of the most famous casinos in Las Vegas history, the Stardust. What does Season 2 have to offer for us?
Well, Renee, Season 2, we're going to look at the Aladdin Hotel. We're going to focus on that quite a bit. And the reason we're going to focus on the Aladdin, it didn't get as much, publicity, 40 years ago in the late 70s as the Stardust. But it was important because it was the first casino that the federal government actually was able to uncover hidden interests by the mob. And it was also the first and only casino that when state gaming regulators eventually got involved, they actually moved to close it. So there's a pretty interesting history behind the Aladdin and how it dealt with these mob allegations. And then, of course, we had some celebrated people trying to buy it after they forced the mob out.
Now here's the latest in sports. The Golden Knights evened their Stanley Cup semifinal series against Montreal at 2 games apiece Sunday with a 2-1 overtime victory. Goaltender Robin Lehner started in place of Marc-Andre Fleury in Game 4 and had this to say about his haters on Twitter.
Well, I've been putting up some pretty good numbers, and people act like that I'm not very good, especially in our own town, but we don't care about the noise. So it's just great motivation for me. It was very enjoyable on Twitter today, and thank you guys very much for giving me that motivation.
Now let's take a look at your local weather forecast, sponsored by 1 Hour Air. No matter the season, no matter the reason, 1 Hour Air is here for you. Happy Monday, everyone. If you haven't felt it already, it's the official first day of summer, and what better way to bring it in with sunny and hot temperatures with a high of near 110 degrees. We will be in a red flag warning. That means winds will get as high as 30 miles per hour by the afternoon. For the rest of the week, we stay in that red flag advisory until Tuesday night, and we will see a slight drop in temps, bringing us some relief, 102 by Wednesday. In your health news, sponsored by 4M Dental, love your smile again. It's easy to joke about the heat here in the desert, but extreme heat can be very dangerous. I spoke recently with Review-Journal science reporting fellow Stephanie Castillo to discuss that danger. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. So we always hear about how important it is to drink a lot of water during the hot seasons, right? But there's more to it than that. Explain.
Yeah, so the way our body cools ourselves down is through our sweat, but because we're in the desert, it instantly gulps it up. And so it's important to stay hydrated. If you're dehydrated, then our body starts to pull fluid from our muscles and then our blood, eventually affecting our kidneys and then the brain.
So, Stephanie, of course, everyone needs to be, and pay attention to how hot it really is here. We're seeing 114, 116. It's extremely hot these days, but who needs to be especially cautious of this heat?
It goes without saying, just the very young and the very old, because it's going to need other people to help advocate for them, as their body's hard for them to regulate with this temperature. But I also want to mention long-standing residents of Vegas. We eventually leave our guards down, and we're affected by the heat because of that. If you don't think that you're thirsty, you actually are. So just making sure you're incorporating breaks. And if any first signs of heat exhaustion, whether it be cramping or just some kind of dizziness or tiredness, just make sure you take yourself out of the environment and protect yourself.
Sports betting sponsored by Las Vegas Paiute Tribal Smoke and Cigar Shop. The Golden Knights won 2-1 in overtime Sunday as consensus -170 road favorites to tie their Stanley Cup semifinal series with the Montreal Canadiens at 2. The game stayed under 5.5. No game has gone over the total in this series. Game 5 is Tuesday at T-Mobile Arena.
In your business news, sponsored by Bank of Nevada, Bank on Accountability, we've been telling you about companies holding job fairs all over the Las Vegas Valley. Now we have a job fair that's bringing a lot of companies together in one place. And there's plenty of room for them. Clark County officials will host the summer job fair at the new West Hall at the Las Vegas Convention Center. More than 100 employers will take part, including major hotels and hospitality companies. The job fair is July 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and you can pre-register at nvcareercenter.org. In your lifestyle news, sponsored by Get Healthy Clark County, the newest restaurant in the Bobby Flay collection, the Food Network star held a grand opening for his Amalfi restaurant at Caesar's Palace.
Mesa Grill had an amazing 16-year run here. We were as busy the first day as we were the last. And these guys said to me, "What do you want to do next?" And I thought, I like Italy. So we specifically wanted to bring an amazing restaurant dedicated to fish and handcrafted pastas. So that's what Amalfi is, and that's what it's become, and that's what it will be for many, many moons, hopefully.
Thank you for watching 7 at 7 a.m. I'm Renee Summerhour. If you have Amazon Fire TV, search Review Journal to download our channel. Watch Las Vegas breaking news streaming live on your OTT device. We'll be back here later on today for 7 at 7 p.m. From all of us here at the Las Vegas Review Journal, have a great day.
Review Journal Studio, sponsored by Adam Kuttner. Get the maximum settlement as quickly as possible. This 7 at 7 update, sponsored by Pro Group Management. You're watching 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review Journal.